The US military is number 1 in air power, with 13,264 total military
Oh
aircraft.
my
A total that is
God, look at the difference between US and Russia, for example. You can put all of them together. This is not even fair. Am I crazy or America is number 1 by a large margin? Today I will be reacting to how strong is the United States military. Okay, this will be an interesting one. But before I go into that, can I ask you for one thing? If you can leave a like, thank you so much, my friend. This is the best way to show support. If you can subscribe, well, in that case, forget about it. You make my day. Have that in consideration. Now, link for the original video in my description. You guys end up suggesting this one a couple of times. Let's play it.
Why is the US military the strongest?
That's a great question.
Great military powers have been appearing and disappearing since the beginning of history. Now is the time for the United States of America to be the leader in military might. But what makes it so powerful? Will its power remain undisputed? Are there already signs of weakness? Would it really stand in a conflict with potential rivals like China or Russia?
Okay, I feel like this will be a great video. I will try to not pause too much. Let me put my perspective right away. I feel like America is number 1 by a good margin at this point. I think America alone can defeat Russia and China. Alone. Forget even the help of Europe. I think America alone can do it. But I know that not Russia, China in specific have been evolving a lot. Would you guys agree with that? But I still think they are far away. But, well, let's see it.
To find out, we should analyse why exactly the US military is considered the strongest. The numbers.
Okay.
The US has 1,400,000 active military personnel. This figure places it in 3rd place in this category.
That's interesting.
China has the largest army with slightly above 2 million soldiers, while India comes in 2nd place.
Whoa.
This doesn't sound that impressive, but what makes the US military stand out is not necessarily the raw number of men.
Technology.
The US has unquestionable air supremacy. The US military is number 1 in air power, with 13,264 total military
Oh
aircraft.
my
A total that is
God, look at the difference between US and Russia, for example. You can put all of them together. This is not even fair. Am I crazy or America is number 1 by a large margin? Oh, this is not even close. Because most of the battles they play in the air, right? Oh wow.
greater than the other 5 greatest air forces combined.
Dude, it's not even close.
2,085 are air-to-air fighters, 715 ground attack aircraft, 945 transportation aircraft, 5,768 helicopters, and 967 attack helicopters. The US is number 1 in each aircraft category except for air-to-ground forces, where it's slightly topped by Russia. The US has a powerful navy that is designed to work in conjunction with its air forces.
I know. Every time I react to military stuff, I pause on this video or in this, in this photo. But it's crazy to see that. Would you guys agree with me? If you are, you guys are Americans, you guys do not feel this for sure. But imagine living in other country. Would you guys be more scared of watching this coming to your country to battle you or aliens? I would prefer aliens. This scares me a lot. Holy.
It has 20 aircraft carriers. 11 are regular fixed-wing carriers, while 9 are capable of hosting only helicopters and short takeoff planes like the F-35B.
By the way, those aircraft carriers, they are billions. It's insane, my friends.
This is almost half of the world's total number of aircraft carriers.
Oh my god. This gets more ridiculous. Look at that. I'm sorry, oh, America, I need to go to America and live there because I will be protected by all of this. That's the move I have to do.
While most of the others belong to allied countries. If we take into account only regular fixed-wing aircraft capacity, the total combined deck space of the US aircraft carriers is over twice that of all the other nations combined. To complement this, the US Navy has the greatest number of destroyers and ranks 3rd in the number of submarines.
Wait, why is North Korea so strong when it comes to submarines? What are... Oh, those guys are working on something. Okay.
The numbers of the US naval strength are a bit tricky. If we count the total number of naval assets, the US falls in 4th place, behind Russia and China, and even behind North Korea, that boasts a surprising 1st place.
Whoa.
However, in
Why?
case of a maritime conflict, it would still be hard to counter the power of the US Navy, supported by overwhelming air supremacy and allied forces. Land power. The US is slightly behind Russia regarding raw numbers. American ground forces number 6,000.
This one does not surprise me because I feel like in Europe they have to be really good when it comes to the ground because a lot of battles happen there. But America have an ocean protecting them, so it's kind of irrelevant, I feel like.
289 tanks, 39,000 armoured vehicles, 1,465 self-propelled artillery, and 1,366 rocket projectors.
Okay.
However, Russia has a lot of outdated vehicles with questionable performance in case of a real conflict. Meanwhile, the US military has a broad technological edge. The US has 5,800 nuclear warheads that make it the world's 2nd largest in nuclear war power. In this video, we're analysing the conventional military strength, but it can't be denied that a nuclear arsenal does bring a certain status. Even if things don't escalate to a full-blown nuclear war, it's
yeah, I agree with this. First of all, I hope never escalates to that because let's be real. In that case, everything can become really, really crazy. And I think we all lose. But having kind of, sends a message, if you know what I mean.
intimidating to any
Ask Japan. I'm sorry.
country to be armoured with such nuclear power. The quality. The US Army consists entirely of trained professionals, and many have real combat experience. Since the beginning of this century, the US has been involved in military conflicts in Afghanistan, Iraq, Pakistan,
Oh, this is true, actually.
Somalia, Libya, Uganda, and Yemen.
You know what? I never thought about this. A lot of countries, even if they have good weapons, a strong military, they are not in conflict. America is always fighting some type of proxy war, or, could be the Middle East. America is always doing something, and that actually prepares them very well if things go crazy. Actually, I never thought about this.
While other countries still rely on conscripts to fill the numbers, the US can field an army of well-trained, experienced professionals. The equipment, the military assets, and the technology used in combat have excellent quality. This is the defining reason why US casualties are usually fewer than those of their adversaries. A strong ability to project power is another defining trait of the United States military. Size, technology, and experience are nothing if you can't reach the enemy. Power projection is the ability of a state to deploy and sustain forces outside its territory. Only a few states are capable to overcome the difficulties that involve power projection, and the US excels at it. This is made possible by several factors. The home base of the US is safe. The neighbouring countries are friendly. Potential enemies are far away. The large landmass makes it a country that is hard to invade. It also has coastlines along 2 oceans and
This is the crazy thing about America, is you guys are protected by, neighbors. Canada, those guys are basically hippies. And Mexico, I don't know. But no, yeah, you guys are safe.
Strategic islands that hold military bases. The US forces can reach far, fast, and deploy great numbers of forces supported by the enforcement of air and sea superiority, combined with excellent transportation capabilities. Even if it doesn't engage in combat, the US can enforce naval and air blockades that can severely cripple an enemy's economy. The US has by far the largest network of military bases operating outside of its territory. Information regarding the exact number and location of such bases involves classified information, so we can only estimate the total extent of the overseas military presence. Back in 2013, the Pentagon stated that there were around 600 military bases overseas. A rough estimate would be around 1,000 overseas US military.
Come on, look at that number. Are you kidding me? Am I crazy? No chance. That's an insane number. That's insane. And I would say one thing. I wonder who was the great mind behind all of this strategy that America had, putting so many bases, because this for sure started with someone that really thought, you know what, let's do this. I don't know what president or, but I wonder, because this was a genius move.
Military compounds. Approximately 165,000 military personnel is stationed outside the United States. This doesn't include areas of conflict such as Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan. The US has significant forces deployed in around 55 countries and autonomous territories. It is also estimated that more than 150 countries have a certain degree of US military presence. Alliances. The United States can rely on a
Baby. Portuguese flag. We are allies, my friends. Yeah.
vast network of alliances. It is the de facto leader of NATO, the world's strongest military alliance. 18 other countries.
Okay, I have a question. I'm not. I know this is a political one, but I'm actually curious to know your perspective, my friends. There is a lot of talk here in Europe that if Trump wins the next election, and who knows, of course, but if Trump wins the next election, he may, in this case, the United States may leave NATO. Any truth to that? Or is that more speculation than anything else? Because if that happens, Europe is in big trouble. Big trouble. Let's be real, America helps us a lot. So.
Are designated as major non-NATO allies. This list includes countries like Australia.
Sorry for another pause, but I also feel that maybe Trump asking for more money. In the sense that if I win, you guys have to pay us a bit better. And to be honest, let's be real, it's kind of fair because don't you guys think that's a bit fair? I was looking at numbers, NATO versus the other countries. The other countries don't even apply with the budget they are asked. It's a bit unfair, and I know I'm European, but I have to be honest on this one.
Australia, New Zealand, Japan, South Korea, Philippines, Thailand, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Egypt, Israel, Argentina, and Brazil. Taiwan's status is a bit more complicated, and it can be considered a de facto ally. Some countries are not formal allies, but have a strong strategic partnership with the US. One notable example is India, that participates in regular military drills together with US forces and some of its allies.
Oh, really?
Economy.
India is becoming really strong. Would you guys agree with that?
Modern warfare is sustained in the long term by two main factors: the capacity to produce military equipment and the capacity to spend money on defence. American defence companies are the indisputable top producers of weaponry. Among the world's top 10 defence suppliers, 5 of them are American companies. Lockheed Martin is the biggest. It reported a revenue of almost $60 billion in 2019. I know this money completely goes over my head. I don't even know how much money that is, but it's crazy. That's close to Russia's entire annual military spending.
Jesus. Okay.
The strength of the US military is also due to its huge military budget. In 2019, spending on the US military was a whopping $732 billion. That's almost 3 times more than China, the world's second largest military spender.
To China, Russia does not spend a lot actually when you compare with even with China. For America, different level. Forget about America at this point, but it's interesting actually.
And is
I was trying to see Portugal. I'm sorry. Now let's continue.
Roughly 1/3 of the entire world's defence budget. While Russia is commonly regarded as the second most powerful army in the world, its budget consists of only $65 billion. Arguably, there is an aspect of purchasing power. For example, it's cheaper to pay a Russian or Chinese soldier, but the cost of high-quality military equipment is still the same around the world. The reason that the US can afford such an enormous military budget is that it's supported by a strong economy. America has been the world's largest economy since 1871. Its
Number one,
nominal
baby.
GDP is currently $21.44 trillion US dollars. This is almost a quarter of the global
That's a
economy.
lot.
And it's backed with plenty of natural resources, advanced infrastructure and technology. Besides the ability to sustain an enormous defence budget, the US often uses its economic strength as a weapon by enforcing economic sanctions.
I mean, smart.
Soft factors. Soft power is another factor that comes into play when assessing a country's might. The US is world-beating in culture, education and technology. American pop culture has an enormous influence, and this won't change anytime soon. America also hosts most of the world's top-ranking universities with a record number of international students. The US leads the world of technology and digitalization as home to the world's most influential tech companies like Apple, Google, Microsoft, and Facebook. It's easy to think that this doesn't seem important in warfare, but imagine an enemy soldier that would have to attack the country where his cousin studies, the country of his favourite music band, the country of his favourite actors from the movie that he watches on an American media platform like YouTube, or
Never thought about this, to be honest, but okay.
or an American smartphone with American software. Finally, there is another critical aspect. It is called the will to fight, and this is the single most important factor in war. The will to fight is the disposition to engage in combat, the determination to keep fighting even when facing precarious odds, and finally to win.
American soldiers are so amazing. I feel like they are, again, different level. I'm sorry, I'm being honest.
At an individual level, a soldier with a low will to fight will avoid engagement with the enemy and is likely to flee when things get tough. A battle is won when the enemy's will to fight is broken. Wars don't end when one military destroys the other. Wars end when one side grows weary of fighting, doesn't see any further purpose in the continuation of the conflict, and gives up. The national will to fight is what keeps a nation fighting. This is commonly linked to a sense of patriotism, national identity, and motivation generated by the idea that one fights for what is right. In the past,
Oh my god, I'm sorry. I know this is a bit unrelated with the video, but this is beautiful, but take a look at the next one.
Idea that one fights for what is
Come on. Are you kidding me, oh friends? This is amazing, right? Oh wow.
right. In the past, this has been a strong point of the US, as
Washington,
Americans have
right?
been fighting against dictators and terrorists that lacked concern for human life and dignity. In contrast, the USA has been regarded as a country that embodies values of freedom, democracy, and rule of law. It was the country that defined such values. Even more, it was the country that was willing to fight for these values. The American soldier has been motivated by a sense of moral supremacy rooted in the country's Christian tradition. However, America doesn't seem to be so cohesive in its values anymore. There are many factors intertwined that provoke this. It's a complex topic that deserves a study on its own. But the outcome is that America is now a country that is greatly divided among ideological lines and systems of belief. Many of its citizens are not sure what to believe in anymore, or even what they stand for.
What? So this is basically the point about the political situation, I'm assuming. Democrats versus Republicans. The country is basically 50-50 at this point. That can be a problem, but I think at the end of the day, but I don't know, my friends, but I think at the end of the day, Americans, no matter what political sides they are in, they love the country. At least I believe that.
There have been many lessons in history. Small nations became great empires by holding high moral standards along with a disciplined and motivated army. A great empire's fall was usually preceded by internal strife and moral crisis.
If you look at the Roman Empire, at one point they thought they would be number one forever, probably. But I feel like America is just getting started. That's the thing. Eventually, in a very, very long run, maybe there will be another country that surpasses, maybe. But I think we are quite far from that, you know.
The final story of the United States of America as a
be
global
wrong.
power is not yet written. The nation's strength rests upon its citizens and their decisions. It's a matter of this great nation getting back its cohesion and moral compass. That is, if it wants to keep its status as the world's greatest superpower and defender of freedom.
Oh, this was amazing, my friends. I thought it was actually an inspirational video at the end. At this point, if you don't know, if you don't know that I love America, what can I do? Just watch my other reactions. But quite strong when it comes to military. But I feel like the last point about the empires eventually falling down or something like that. That's a thing for sure. I mean, if you look at history, that tends to happen. But again, I could be wrong. I believe we are just at the start of the American empire. I think we have at least 200-300 years more. But who knows? Thank you so much for watching, my friends. Do not forget to leave a like. See you guys next time.